So what are the top 3 challenges that your clients have? What do they experience?
Typically, and like I said, when they get to somewhat of an established level, usually what happens is they're heavily invested in the organization. They've got people that they've hired, they've got a facility that they've got to pay for, they may have inventory that they've got to worry about moving through, a lot of moving parts. Okay? So what I find is in most of these cases, what they really are not doing well or not doing at all is they're not delegating. They're not figuring out how to...
They're not transitioning it to somebody else.
They're not handing it off to other people who, in some cases, can do it better than they can, and learning how to utilize their resources, their people, in a much better fashion.
Well, and if they don't hand it off, they can't focus on their highest and best use.
No, they essentially become one of their own employees. And that's a problem. That's another area that I tend to work with a lot of people, is adjusting their mindset about what they're there to do. But that delegation aspect can be a hugely liberating activity once you recognize the benefits of it and you learn to do it right.
And you learn to do it right. I think most of us can figure out that it'd be nice to enjoy the benefits, but doing it right is the ticket.
Getting them to recognize the benefits is what gets them to want to try it, but then you've got to practice it and you've got to work with it until you figure out what style is going to work for you and the people that are working for you.
Right. Okay, so delegation, what else?
Communication is the next one. Frequently I will work with large companies that are heavily technology based or they're industrial based. And a lot of the people that are in that, they know the business well, they know the market well, they've come up through the organization. They've never really learned the human interaction side of being a leader of an organization. So as a result, they usually don't communicate enough, they don't communicate right, they don't do it in a way that not only gets the message down through the ranks, so everybody's on the same page working towards the same direction, but they don't engender any real loyalty from their employees, because at some point if you feel like you're detached from where the company's going, then you just tend to want to come in and do your 8 and leave.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant leadership component. Right?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that's the second one. The third one, and this goes more to the business owner, is really understanding marketing. Understand what role that plays in your organization, and be proficient enough that you don't necessarily have to design the campaign or the strategy, but you need to know how it works so that when you bring people in and they're working for you or working with you, you understand where all this is going, how it's playing out. And what I find is many of them understand things like pay-per-click and having a website and doing flyers or components. They know all the pieces. They don't understand how the underlying strategy works and which pieces will work for them and which ones they should stay away from.
Yeah, what the holistic aspect is, and from marketing to sales. So sometimes we marry those two things together.
And I do. I look at them as two halves to a whole. It doesn't mean that they have to be exactly equal in their contribution, but most of the time you do need a marketing campaign so that you're visible and recognizable in the community you're trying to serve. But you also need the ability to nurture people and bring them into your organization so that when they're ready to say yes, you're there ready to
provide the service or the product.
Bring them in. Absolutely.
Yeah.